beautiful day out here, so I thought I'd just come outside. And I want to talk to you about one of anxiety's best friends. And that's frustration and anger. Okay, so two of anxiety's best friends. Those three seem to go together, kind of like unwelcome guests at a party. I'm going to make a prediction. All right, you ready? I'm going to predict if you felt like a lot of anxiety and you've been very nervous about something, that a day or two after that, you felt yourself get frustrated, short-tempered, and really, really angry. Particularly it's something that either shouldn't make you angry or, in my case, even worse, sometimes that family members, like your kids or your spouse. And I cannot tell you how much that bothers me. I absolutely hate it. So let's talk about why that is and what you can do to stop it. Now, if you go online, you're going to see all sorts of resources and ideas and thoughts and clinical assessments, and that's great. And I've read through there, and a lot of it really just doesn't apply to me. So what I've noticed in my own personal experiences, I'll get extremely anxious, and my anxiety will last for days, sometimes like a week or a week and a half. Then within a day, like not kidding you, the next day or the day after that, I'll be short-tempered and I'll be just pissed off at a lot of stuff I shouldn't be pissed off at. And what I've come to discover is that in those times when I'm feeling mad and when those times I'm feeling frustrated, it's because I'm overwhelmed. I've already been in fight or flight for a week and a half because anxiety puts you in that fight or flight mode. And I just can't take it anymore. I can't take the little annoyances, the little things that come up in daily life that otherwise would be no big deal, like nothing at all, like your kid knocking over his backpack from the counter onto the floor just because it thinks it's fun. Whatever. Those type of things happen every day, hundreds of times a day, and most of the time I can just glide right through it. But after a really, really bad anxiety attack, it bothers the hell out of me, and I'll do stuff like yell at him or tell him it's wrong or, like take away something he likes. And then to make matters worse, I feel guilty about that. I feel like a poop parent, if you know what I mean. And it really, really upsets me that I act in a manner that's not my true self, not who I want to be, and I take it out on someone that's so young or so innocent. And the same way, like when I get upset at my partner, when I get mad at Erica, it's usually for things I shouldn't get mad at. And then I feel guilty at that, and it's horrible. It's a horrible, vicious cycle. And I can't stand it. But it's taken me several years, at least 2 or 3 years, to just recognize the connection, to realize that if I'm anxious, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to be like in a grumpy state of mind for the next 24 to 36 hours. So what you can do, and if you find this happening to you, and if you see that you're having unexplained periods of irritability or anger or frustration, or you're just mad, you might want to think about the timing related to when you've been anxious last, or when you've been maybe even depressed, because your emotional system is already just at ends with itself. It's at its rope. The end of its rope, that's the way to say it. That's what it is. It's at the end of the rope, and it can't take anything else. So you're cognitively backed into a corner, and when the little things come up that take a little bit of just sort of resilience and pushing through, you don't have that. So what can you do about this, right? I mean, that's why we're here. Like, how the hell do you treat this? Well, the first thing is, and this is a big step that's going to sound simple, is just simply being aware. If you're aware of the connection, and to another part, just being aware of when you're frustrated, unreasonably so. Having that awareness is huge. Like I said, it took me a long time to even develop that, and sometimes to this day, I'm still not completely cognizant of when I'm activated after an anxious cycle. Because I'll tell you what, you know how it is. When you're in your head, every emotion feels correct for that time. Every emotion feels like it's the right response for what you're dealing with, but it's not. Emotions lie to you. Emotions are the most unreal, real thing ever. They feel completely real and legitimate in the moment, and they are real to you, but they have no bearing and no help on and they don't help the outside world. They're the most fake things you can come across in life. Yet they're the most motivating and real things in the moment. I just can't get over that dichotomy. So develop awareness. If you're really mad at something, if you're really frustrated, regardless of what it is, take a minute and say, why? Why is this? Am I reacting to what's in front of me? Do I usually do this? When was the last time I have been anxious? When was the last time I, was feeling really kind of just stressed about something or other? And see if the timing lines up. Okay? Now, once you've developed that awareness, or even if you're not sure, if it doesn't seem to correlate, the next thing you can do is to take a step back from the situation itself, okay? So let's say you're feeling frustrated and you don't see any alignment with your anxiety, and you don't see any correlation between the last time you're feeling really, really anxious or depressed. In the moment when you're feeling frustrated, just stop for a second and say, okay, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and have awareness of the anger and the frustration itself. Then whenever you possibly can, try to get away from whatever it is that you're doing. Now, this is going to be different from what all the online resources tell you and what therapists are going to recommend, but I found it works out really good for me. When I get pissed off unreasonably at my kids, my spouse, and when I shouldn't, when there's no cause for me and I'm being unfairly mean to them or unfairly angry at them, the best thing I can do is just take off for a little while, go do something I enjoy. That's what I like to do. I'll go, honestly, it's going to sound so immature, but I'll grab my iPad and go play a video game. I'll grab the dogs and go for a walk in the forest, or even just go out and go for a run. Break the cycle, break up that chain of what you're in. Take a vacation from your current moment and go do something else. Get a change of scene. And that's going to eliminate in the moment those triggers, whatever it is that's triggering you. And it'll give you a chance to sort of reset. It'll give you a little bit of happiness in being able to do something you enjoy. And that's going to go a long way to deactivating. Well, okay, so on the surface, you're going to be less mad. Underneath, you're going to deactivate your fight or flight response. Your parasympathetic nervous system, the one that calms down the fight or flight response, is finally going to get a chance to do its work. The little inside firefighter is going to be able to hop into their trucks and go put out the fires of frustration and anger and anxiety in a way that they need to. Because if they're still trying to battle the blaze of you being mad, they're outnumbered. You can't win that in the moment. You have to take that break and get away in order to just give your body a chance to reset. So then third, once you are out doing what it is that you enjoy, once you've had that chance to reset and you're sort of just like calming down, whatever you find. Okay, now here's really the big picture of it. You're going to have to find something that makes you feel better, okay? And I told you what it works for me: video games, walking, running, sleeping. Sleeping helps me feel better more than anything else, because usually when I'm anxious, it's due to a lack of sleep. And when I'm angry or frustrated, it's also due to a lack of sleep in combination with having been anxious. Okay, so for me, taking like a, honest to God, 3 to 4 hour nap, that's huge. That's what it did it for me yesterday. In fact, yesterday morning, I came across the fact I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and I was just mad from the get-go. There was nothing wrong. Everything was fine around the house. But man, I was fired up. So I went out to my little office just right over here. I have an outside office in a shed that we bought from Costco that I converted into an office. But I laid down on my couch for about 3.5 hours, woke up feeling like a champ. The rest of the day went well. The evening went well. Today I feel great, calm, in control, happy. Happiness is a rarity these days, but I actually feel it, and it's great. But I slept, and that's what I had to do. So when you're feeling this way, it's going to take some experimentation, but get out and find something that makes you happy and makes you calm, and do that. Remember what it is, even if you have to write it down, and the next time you're feeling frustrated or angry, go out and do that, okay? Then once you've had a chance to calm down and you're in a good frame of mind, this is going to take some work, but you're going to have to spend some time thinking about the causes of anxiety. You're going to have to spend some time thinking about the causes of your irritability, your frustration, and what you can do to avoid those causes or to make it better. And this is going to be an ongoing thing. This is going to be something you may have to deal with for months and months, years and years. I've dealt with it for about 10 or 15 years. But every time you deal with it, it gets a little bit easier and a little bit better, and you feel better in the long run. Okay? It's like chipping away at the Great Wall of China, where you're trying to get through it. You're on the inside is the bad part, and let's say China's bad. This is just an analogy, nothing political. But let's say you want to get out of China into the freedom outside the wall. You're not going to get through it in a day. It's going to take a lot of chipping away at that wall in order to make a tunnel to go through. And every time you chip away at it, you'll be a little bit closer to your goal, and you feel a little bit better about the progress you've made. And every time you work on it, every time you think about this stuff, you have more tools in your belt. Like I've got a pretty big tool belt by now. And I've got a lot of tools that work for me in terms of reducing anxiety, as well as the subsequent frustration and anger and just being mad. But it's taken a lot of time. So remember that. This is going to be like your homework assignment, but the homework assignment pays off every time you do it. And the more you do it, the closer you get to like an end goal of being able to manage it. So this is the goal. The goal isn't to eliminate frustration and anger. You're never going to be able to get rid of those completely. You might be able to get rid of anxiety completely if you handle your body right. And I'll talk about this more in other ways. You'll eliminate all the triggers. Like for me, it's sleep, exercise, nutrition. Those are my big three. If I keep those three in check, I'm okay. I don't get anxious. But you may not be able to eliminate that. But what you will be able to do, the goal here, the realistic goal, is to handle it as quickly as it comes up. So instead of being anxious or angry or irritable for hours or days, you're going to work it down to minutes or hours, then seconds or minutes, and eventually almost instantaneously. And this happens. Like for me, it's happened quite a few times. Where as soon as I recognize the emotion, I pull out a tool from the tool belt and I'm able to deal with it. And that's a realistic goal for you to have in terms of handling these negative feelings. So keep that in mind. All right, so anger, irritability, those are the unwanted friends of anxiety, which unfortunately go together. And remember the 3 steps: awareness, remove yourself from the situation, finding something you like, and then working on the underlying causes when you're in a good frame of mind, okay? That's the only time you can really do it. Don't worry. Don't try to do it when you're feeling anxious. Don't try to do it when you're irritable. It's not going to work. You're going to come up. What you're going to do, okay, in more technical terms, is you're going to interject emotion into your decision tree. You're going to be making decisions based on emotion, and you don't want to do that because then your decisions are flawed. They're based on something that isn't real, and that's going to create errors in your logic. You see how that works? So you want to be able to make decisions, always make decisions emotion-free, from a point of logic, a point of reason, and a point of clarity that comes with calmness. All right, guys, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments. Sorry about the repeated words, but all right, you guys take care. Let me know if there's anything I can help out with. It's a struggle. It's a long struggle and a long path to feeling emotionally stable, but it's definitely doable, and it is so worth it, 100%. I'm down the path. I've walked this for quite a while, and I've got a lot of tips and tricks that might be able to help you out. All right, guys, take care.